can't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. I'm joined today by two very special guests. And one, I actually want to say, if I'm not mistaken, if you've been hanging around in the Blerd without fear multiverse for any stretch of time, you have very likely a recollection of my guest. So let's go ahead and introduce. We got David Rucker and Wolly McNair, and today they're going to be talking to you about their new comic, Elton. So, gentlemen, look, show it off.
A little shameless, unshameless plug.
Hey, look, there's no such thing. No shame here. No shame here. Look, we look. So y'all have been cooking this. Y'all been cooking this up for a while now, and I've had the privilege. Of kind of, I feel like kind of being in on the ground floor, kind of getting to see this thing kind of grow up. From the early stages, kind of seeing it, kind of formulate from being an idea to being a fully realized thing. And it just kind of, I already kind of have a lot of the inside baseball on it, but I'm going to play dumb for the audience's sake, because otherwise I wouldn't ask any questions. I know the story. I kind of know the backstory behind this, but I kind of wanted y'all to share the backstory behind this. So what is Elton?
I'll let you take that.
Yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, my favorite way to give a base description is HBO's The Wire meets first season of Daredevil's Netflix. It's ground level anti-hero trying to do something for his city, the place that he loves, the place that raised him, the place that played a huge part in making him who he is. But it asks the question of how much is too much to sacrifice to save something you love. The main character's name is Jamal Reed Thompson. In costume, his name is Remnant, when Remnant pretty much means a last remaining piece of something. And a lot of the story deals with the fact that Jamal is losing that last remaining piece of who he was, that innocence, to try to do something better for the city and the people that he loves.
I was actually kind of glad that you did it the way you did it, because I always tell people that sometimes you kind of have to lean into the thing a little bit to really send it home, to really send the idea home of what something is. I always tell people, like, never be too caught up in what something is similar to or what something is like, because when you have to pitch these sort of things to people with the money, they will usually have to pitch it in the most simplistic term humanly possible. And the idea of a story that is all those things you just mentioned, that's compelling narrative in my mind.
Appreciate it.
Now, with that said, because something that you said that kind of stuck out to me when y'all first told me about this was, the name of the story is the name of the place where it takes place. This is, of course, it's about Jamal and his persona is Remnant, but it's also it seems to be like as much about the environment and the setting itself.
Yes,
now, with that in mind, like, because when you kind of put that focus towards the environment, one of the things I was curious about is how much of a factor will the city itself, we get to see like a lot of like kind of the, not necessarily like the day-to-day, but like just kind of like the comings and goings of like just other stuff going on in the city.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that David wanted to put a lot of emphasis on, and we talked about a lot, was the city itself being a character, and the way that things move and function, the way that people move and function, and even revealing why certain things are the way they are at certain points in time. So you'll definitely, even things from real life that we'll implement that are there, that people from there will immediately see, and it'll resonate because they've had to deal with it, see it, know it for years upon years upon years. And it plays a part in the mentality of how some people move and function, which you'll see reflected throughout different characters within the series.
we got our main character Jamal, who's going to be kind of large and in charge on this. When you look in that preview that you showed me, one of the things I thought was really compelling about him as a character is that he kind of lets you know off rip that he's been through some stuff. He has seen some things. He has seen the absolute crust of humanity probably by this point, and yet he still kind of does the good deed. Like he still tries to like trying to carry out some form of justice in his city. Like, can you give us a little bit of background on Jamal? And I guess without giving too much away, like maybe even a little bit of his becoming to this point remnant.
I can roll with that one then. So so for Jamal's part, he's a veteran. He is not only a veteran from the military, but he's a veteran from the streets. He grew up in the streets. He grew up in a family that had to do certain things to survive. Just a natural way of living. Some of those things that he did were based. Some of those things that his family did were based on putting food on the table, paying the electric bill, keeping my car note going, and then he saw that, and then he tries to get out of that environment. That doesn't work out, and he finds himself in the military. And in the military, I don't want to go too deep into there because there's a lot of things that we want to let the reader find out about. I mean, from the sample, you get that idea. He's seen some stuff. Yeah, he's seen some stuff. So as the character, as a veteran, he has seen a lot of things, and he's seen things more than a normal serviceman or Army or Marine would have seen. He's been put in situations where he's had to make hard choices, where he's had to do things that were questionable in the name of national security. Let's just put it that way. So that's all shaped him in a way where he now comes back into society, and now he sees the city that he sees the city for what a different point of view. Now he sees those things that I don't want to say took for granted, but I think he sees them in a different light of like what he saw in his time in the military. He didn't really have a chance to question some of the things that he had to do, or he couldn't do the things that he was put there to do because, that wasn't part of his order or directive or whatever you want to say. But now he's been put in a situation back in his hometown or his city of Elton. And now he has a sense of, I can make a difference here because I've been pushed to a point where someone has to take a stand and no one else is willing to do it. And I, for whatever reason, have the capability, the skills, and the knowledge that I can force a shock to the system to bring about change.
And to add to that, with his upbringing, it would be weird to someone who didn't come up that way, but to him, it was normal at the time. And like David said, that he experienced life on a different plane. He starts to look back and realize that wasn't normal, but it was what it was. And also within that, there's no judgment from him towards his family or the environment, because he understands there's a certain amount of love that came with everything that was dealt with there, compared to some of the decisions for certain things when he got into the military and having to just, like David said, take orders. This is what the job is, get the job done. But now coming back home, some people don't care, some people do care, but no one seems to have the ability to fight fire with fire. And Jamal feels like he can, and he's willing to.
Yeah. And I would like to add to that too, is because his time in the military, he had the belief in what he was doing. And then there came a point where it didn't make sense anymore and he questioned it. And so he left. And as Wally says, he comes back and sees the city in a different light. And I guess he finds what's the word we want to use here? A cause, not a cause, but a reason, something to ignite a flame in him to believe that there is still some good in this city. There's still good in this world. And sometimes you have to get down in the dirt and in the mud to try to make change. He's willing to make that sacrifice to do that.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to become a wolf to stop the wolves.
I rock with it because I don't have any personal experience with the military beyond just my connections to people who have served. But one thing I can definitely say that, you know, is usually pretty common amongst those people is kind of like similar to what you're talking about, not for the same reasons, you know, exactly, but you know, just you know, sometimes you do something long enough and you kind of have time to sit back and be like, well, was this cool? Was this like an okay? Is this something I really should have like? Is what I'm doing like right, wrong, whatever? You have to compartmentalize those things, and I would say even in lesser positions of any kind of law enforcement, I feel like if you've got half a heart, you're gonna question some things from time to time. But what I like is the inner monologue, without giving away too many of his thoughts. What I like is the inner monologue in him because, you know, he makes it pretty clear. He doesn't view himself particularly as, you know, like when you see like some vigilantes, a lot of times like, oh, I'm justice. I am the good guy. But I mean, you're breaking the law too. You
Right.
know, like
Right.
vigilantism is
Yeah.
illegal. But like,
Right.
what I appreciate in this is that Jamal doesn't seem to have any illusions about who he is or even what he's doing exactly. Like, but he's doing it because, you know, he has to. Like no one else is gonna do it. You
Right.
know, he's you know, he's taking it upon himself. But I appreciate his inner monologue because there's multiple points where he kind of makes it pretty obvious that, you know, he doesn't view himself as a good person, you know, whether it's because of his past or his present. You know, he just it's a nice mixture of like the dutiful hero and the reluctant hero. You know, which I can appreciate. Now, one thing that I wanted to bring up too was the design of the character because I really like the look of him. Like, yeah, he's got like I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it, but like it's got a little bit of ninja in it, you know, it's got a little bit of like your street level hero type of vibe. The way that he is depicted is pretty cool. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was at the back of the at the back of the preview, the character turnarounds, and I was really like I was already, yeah, full disclosure, I was already kind of hype about it beforehand because Sean, our
Sean
mutual Sean
Elaine.
Elaine,
Yeah.
who hooked up the design. And I was like, man, I like that. I really like that design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
can you give like a little bit of I mean, you maybe a little bit of background into the design of Jamal's you know, remnant look?
So the original design that I did was it was cool, it was interesting, but it wasn't tactical and it wasn't modern. It was based on like a lot of Egyptian elements and African elements, which was super cool, but didn't necessarily translate well to the world that we're trying to build. So David bought Sean up as been somebody to discuss with redesigning, taking the core of what we had, and he used a lot of those core elements, but the focus became there's a company called DevTech that makes bulletproof masks that are actually sold out to military and police and things of that nature, tactical masks. So looking at those type things, we started discussing just tactical gear in general, like, you know, to go out and do what Jamal is doing, he's got to be able to move and be fluent, but he's also got to be protected. You know, we're not making it seem like he's going to be able to dodge bullets, you know what I mean? And just escape everything that's coming for him. So how can he maneuver within this world where danger is just a part of the everyday moment? So giving him as much protection realistically as possible became a very key point. So when you look at his armor, it's piece by piece. It protects almost every part of his body, even the cloaking. I mean, the zipper is there for a reason. It's something. It's another reinforcement to protect him if he's shot or if he's stabbed, or the way that the vest is made, the Kevlar material being stitched and put together in a way where it's cool. And it invokes an emotion possibly, but it also protects him and it serves his purpose. And of course, you know, everybody likes ninjas and being stealth, and, you know, even his weapons, we were very intentional about the weapons that he has. In addition to guns, hand to hand is something he's very efficient in, very comfortable with. So giving him blades that he could use from every end and also protect and fight with was just very key when those close call situations happen, you know. So we were just very, and then there's other additional cool. We don't got a cape, but we can have some cool tassels hanging off of the wrapping of this, things like that
Yeah.
that can be in the wind and give them some cool pose moments,
And if you look behind me, you get a
There you go.
look of Jamal.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no, we look at we got you. Look, I'm
yeah,
feeling it. Well, and that's kind of more to your point though about the character, because like it looks like a person that's actually going out to do something. Like
yeah.
it doesn't and don't get me wrong, it's no knock against your traditional superhero garb, your traditional street level crime fighting garb. I mean, yeah, they all look cool.
Right.
But like when I look at Jamal, I see a character who is more concerned about utility as opposed to looking cool.
Right.
Like
Right.
the cool is a byproduct of the utility.
Yeah.
Which it makes a lot of sense because you think about this guy's background. He served. So when you think about somebody who has like a military background, you don't think of, oh man, a onesie and a
Right.
cape with
Right.
a mask and bright colors. You don't really you like I don't know. Maybe some would. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
associate that with I don't associate, like, I think like even the Punisher to an extent, I think, like, depending on, various iterations of the character, like, depending, the look changes, but, like, there are some iterations of the Punisher where I go, no military man would wear that. And then there's
Right.
other versions I go, that's actually more what I would expect from a guy who served in the military and is going out and doing what he's doing.
Right.
It would be less spandex and like more like your tactical vest, maybe some combat boots,
More
no,
functional.
right, yeah, more like function and utility over everything else, because you got to protect
Mhm.
yourself. If I'm not mistaken, this is going to be going up on Kickstarter.
Mhm.
Which
Thursday,
Mhm.
May 23rd.
May 23rd. Okay.
Mhm.
So what I was curious about is what all exactly are y'all plotting to put into the Kickstarter for this?
So, of course, you have the standard book. You'll also have a few variant covers from a few different artists. Myself, a cat named Thiago, Solomon, who is the main artist on the book. Um, we also have a companion book that'll be up for grabs. The companion book will have the entire script, a rough version and a slightly edited version. It'll have the entire book in black and white. It's over 100 pages. It'll have the entire book in black and white, sketches, concept materials, some of the original designs of characters who have appeared and will appear in future issues of the book, and some background on some of the stories and some thoughts from me and David. Skate decks with art from the book, from the series, T-shirts, stickers, collectors posters. The other component to this is we're actually working on a small documentary about Lumberton, North Carolina, which is what Elton is influenced by and based loosely on. But it also embodies Laurinburg, Fayetteville, Fairmount, Roland, all these other areas that Red Springs that are in that area kind of rolled into one. But the purpose of the doc is more or less to show the humanity in Lumberton and to show stories from various backgrounds and various people who are from there, either currently or in the past were living there, and to kind of show the other side of what this place is and the realities of it from all standpoints. So that's another component. People will be able to pledge to get producer credits, to get sponsor credits for the documentary, which is still in motion, because we really want to show a very well-rounded balance of both sides of this, from the fictional standpoint of the book to the reality standpoint of the doc. So that's another component of what will be available on the Kickstarter as well. And we have a soundtrack from artists from the area. So when anybody that pledges to any tier will automatically get a copy of the soundtrack that they can download and listen to. This will be volume 1. Each issue will have a volume of a soundtrack that features artists from the area.
Oh damn! So y'all put some stank on this. Is basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I would add to that. I think this is a passion This is something that Wally and I really believe in. This has been something that we have been working on for a while, that we really love and we really want to share with everybody. And so for us, this is an opportunity for people to come in and see the world of Elton, to experience some of the stories from and the world of Lumberton, Fayetteville, and Red Springs and all that area, because some of the stories that we're going to set Jamal in are going to be loosely based on incidents or things that have happened in Elton and Lumberton. So these are things that people can actually say, huh, okay, I can see this. You know, we wanted to write this story in a way and create it in a way that it is gritty, it is realistic, but yet there is that part of it that allows you to push the envelope when it comes to heroes. We didn't, when we came about this story, we wanted to make sure that we wanted to be more about the characters, more about the city, more about the social economics, the systemic racism, social injustice. We wanted to show all that, and we wanted to, like, the superhero part of it to be in the background. Yeah, Jamal has certain skills and abilities, but why is he here? Well, here's all the things that we experience in every day. And if you had the opportunity to experience them, would you make a change? And how would you do it? These are questions that we want to put out there. These are seeds we want to put in people's heads. Take a book, look in the mirror and say, hey, I remember Bernie Mac once said on the show, America, everyone has something like this in their family. And if you don't, then it's you, America. So, we really want people to come in and experience this world and go with us on this ride.
And like you said earlier, Ernie, like when we show parts of the community, it allows people to see what Jamal is fighting for. You know what I mean? The people that raised him, regardless of how you may feel about some of these characters, they were key to his survival. They were key to his growth. They were key to the community existing. You know what I mean? So you get to see those aspects as well, and the love that is shared despite the obstacles. So we just wanted to make sure it was important to understand some choices are made for a variety of reasons, but it all ties back to a foundation, and that foundation is important. And Jamal is trying to keep that from cracking and falling apart, even if it means losing who he was to do that.
No, I mean, there's sacrifices that Jamal's going to have to make. And those sacrifices is a perfect example, as well. I said, it means maybe I have to lose my humanity. Maybe I have to cross this line and sacrifice myself for the good of the community in order to draw attention to what's going on here,
And we develop other characters who help, because, we can't just all be in Jamal's head all the time. So me and David have cooked up other characters that give a little humor where it's needed, not over the top, but in places that make sense. And there's other characters that you'll get to grow with as well, because some people might not care for Jamal as much as they do other characters that are supporting the story and moving the story along, but you'll see those different aspects. My fault, David. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, and I want to add to that. If you, like we said, it's like a cross between The Wire and Daredevil. Now, if we take and go look at The Wire, you will see a lot of people say, "Oh, Avon was my favorite character," or Stringer Bell was my favorite character, or Cuddy was one of my favorite characters. Some people might identify with Marlowe. Some people might identify with McNulty. But these characters are in such a way that you will find characters that you're rooting for and characters that you're like, nah, this, I can't wait for this character to go away. You just can't wait for this character to go away. Like, I hate to say it, but like Avon's nephew, how much longer is this dude going to survive this world?
Everybody else done caught it, but he's still here.
Right.
Or what's his name? Michael's character.
You talking about
Man, 'cause he
Omar?
was
You talking about
Omar.
Omar?
Omar.
Yeah,
I
Omar,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, I gotta be honest with you. The way Omar went out, I was like, man, I was really rooting for Omar, man, because it's like Omar was untouchable.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was
But that's what
untouchable.
made it so real. It
Mhm.
is often the seemingly untouchable that are taken out by the least likely one. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Right. And that's and these are the things that we are trying to encapsulate with this story we're telling of Elton, and tell it in a way that is believable, and that the characters are experiencing pain. They are experiencing joy. The things they do, they have a reason to do them.
Or at least to them, they have a reason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good point. At least to them. At least to them. Or as Wally says, I might just go off script one day and just write something, and then Wally's like, "Dave, what is this?" I don't know. Just character was talking to me, so I just wrote it.
Yeah, to be fair, sometimes that is the case. Sometimes the character has a story to tell that maybe you didn't necessarily envision, yourself so much as it just kind of seemed like the most natural thing for the character to say or do, or I often tell people sometimes that whenever I write something, sometimes it's usually like not a whole story, but just a specific scenario that just kind of pops into my head, and it just seems like, well, yeah, it makes the most sense. And sometimes it's just kind of what it is for a lot of things. Sometimes the story writes itself. You don't
Right.
really, you kind of just let the pen or the keyboard, whatever the case may be, kind of tell the story. We got the Kickstarter. She said, was it May 23rd?
May 23rd. Yep.
May 23rd is going to be, so it's going to be, which, by the way, for those, as of this recording, that means it is literally, by the time this goes up, it will literally be happening. So there will be links down in the description, pin comment below, all that stuff. Can we give them a rundown of what all they can expect in this Kickstarter?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we'll have, of course, the standard book. You can get a super cool copy of let me make sure I got that right. Super cool copy of the book. There'll be various variant covers, some exclusive Kickstarter covers that'll only be available through the Kickstarter. We'll have the companion book, which again is a black and white book that has the entire script as well as the entire book in black and white, because some people love artist editions of books. It also have concept art and character sketches and development art and thoughts from me and David, as far as the process. You can also pick up T-shirts, Elton T-shirts, 41 T-shirts, which 41 Curb is an area in Lumberton, which is where a lot of this story is based, Southside Lumberton. Skate decks with art on them, collector's skate decks, collector's cards, posters, stickers, bookmarks, all the cool things you look for, plus a few others. We will also have a statue of Jamal that will be available for grabs as well. There'll be a non-painted version for those who just want to see the full detail, no color, or want to do it themselves and paint it whatever color scheme that they like. And then there'll be a full color version that you can pick from as well. Just because I think it's cool to offer figures and things like that, especially if it's a character that people really dig the design, and the feedback has been pretty good so far on the design. So we'll have that as an option. And then there's an option for people that want to take part in helping to get the documentary finished. So you can have options for producer credits and things of that nature as well. So got a pretty long list of things you can choose from. So make sure May 23rd, search Elton or go to the links that'll be popping up in the description, or my page at Wally V on Instagram, David's Decimation Earth or Decimation Studios. And, there'll be in the links of our bios, or just search Elton, L''TON on Kickstarter, and it'll pop right up.
I've been able to kind of witness this thing kind of grow up into what it is right now, and I have to say I am very proud of what y'all have put together.
Thank you.
Hey there, bro.
Oh, dude, hey, the pleasure is mine. As a person who has loved comics for a long time, read comics for a long time, the processes going on behind the scenes, witnessing something kind of build into what it's ultimately going to be, has always been a fascination for me, and getting to see this turn into what it is has, you know, been awesome.
We appreciate you, bro, and we
Yeah,
appreciate you. It meant a lot to us to get your feedback throughout this process, because we respect your opinion, we respect your, you know, the way that you're a connoisseur of comics and writing, you know, so we appreciate that. And we also want to give a shout out to everybody that shared the original promo video. It's at over 30,000 plays, which for us is amazing. I think over 400 shares, and all of that is community helping to push. And we hope that translates well over to the Kickstarter as well. But either way, we appreciate people taking the time to comment, share, like, and view. You know what I'm saying? It means a ton to us. No pun intended. A ton.
It took me a second. I was like, you just sneak a pun in there.
This has been an amazing journey for us, and I say, as Wally said, thank you so much, Ernie, for your support and your feedback, because it meant a lot to us. But it's been an amazing journey. It's been an amazing time for Wally and I to work together. We had talked for a long time and collaborating, and we finally found something that we can collaborate on, and it's been an amazing journey and process for us to collaborate together on this story. You know, some people say, well, it's not easy to co-write with some people, but in this process, I have to say, you know, it's been an amazing process to work with Wally on this.
David's been nice. There's been times he wanted to punch through the screen and throw stuff at me. You know.
Yeah. Hung up, just walked. It's like, I'm done.
Come to this point, I think it's safe to say y'all got something there. So
yeah. We've definitely figured out a formula, you know.
Yeah. Just be glad this wasn't an actual writer's room. You might have saw me throwing things across the room.
I promise you, there was a few times when David was so fed up, but I'm like, hey, bro, just trust me on this. Just trust me on this.
Trust
and he
process.
does. Yeah, he puts a lot of trust in my. But there's certain things I also have to shut up and sit back and listen to him, because he has an experience in certain places and certain worlds that I don't have the same experience. And it's like, hey, bro, if you feel like that's the move, I gotta trust you on that. You know what I mean? Because I'm not gonna wreck the situation, let my ego get in the way to be like, nah, I just think it should be done like this. It's like, nah, let me humble myself and get out the way. You know.
I think the most fun I have is when Wally and I are trying to write a scene where there's action, and we're trying to figure out how we can get the character to do something. And he's like, well, no, that's going to take too long. Well, what if we do this? No, man, we can't use that. Well, why don't we have him do this? Nah, we got to let the reader have, it's just a unique process of trying to get the scenes down that flows, in a comic versus an actual book. Because in a book, you can write all the details out. In a comic, you only got so many scenes to write out on the storyboard to get the action.
Right.
So
same thing with film, and we always have that conversation. This will work perfect for TV. This will work perfect for a novel. We gotta figure out how to trust our audience to understand the transitions between here and there, and giving them enough to find that balance, and giving Solomon room for his creativity to shine at moments, because we might have a certain vision and he comes with something different. It's like, oh, that works, that works. So
well, yeah, because your artist is always going to kind of have a little bit of a like their own kind of perspective,
right?
Like on how something might work out better from a look, from a looks point of view. As a person working with an artist right now, like, yeah, sometimes your artist can see shit in a way that maybe you just don't have the capability to see. And it just it is one of those things. It's a very humbling thing, but also it's a really awesome thing when it works out in your favor.
Right.
like if you just like I say, sometimes you almost have to kind of like you just have to trust in the process. Yep. Like trust in the process, and I will definitely say I think that just from what I have seen, I think Solomon's done a fantastic job. I think y'all have a lot to be proud of here on your hands.
We appreciate that, man. We really do, bro.
Definitely do, man. Appreciate that.
You guessed it, obligatory channel outro time. If you're not subscribed to the channel, consider doing so. Clicking that subscribe button and tapping that notification bell ensures that you get more videos just like this one, and you don't miss any of my other content that I drop throughout the week, plus my live streams every Thursday and Saturday. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you click that like button, keep it plus ultra, and sound off in the comments.